Billionaire discovers the incredible truth behind a dish. Black Waitress's hidden journey exposed. Marcus Whitmore, billionaire entrepreneur, stepped into the upscale restaurant, ready to escape the suffocating grind of board meetings and relentless deal-making. The energy buzzed around him, yet something felt distinctly off. As he scanned the menu, a simple dish caught his attention. A humble bowl of gumbo served by a waitress named Tanya. She moved through the crowd like a dancer, balancing trays with easy grace, her face tired yet radiating warmth. In that bustling restaurant, amid the elaborate plates, it was her dish that held a peculiar allure. "Can you tell me about this?" Marcus asked, gesturing toward the gumbo as Tanya approached. Her eyes lit up with pride, and for a moment, he felt a spark of genuine connection, an emotion alien to him in recent years. "It's my grandmother's recipe," Tanya said, her voice a soothing balm against the chaos surrounding them. "It's a blend of flavors I've grown up with, a reflection of our family's history." As she spoke, Marcus could sense something deeper beneath her words. She carried more than just ingredients. There was a legacy shaped by struggle and resilience, a parallel to his own life that he had long buried beneath layers of wealth and privilege. A sudden wave of empathy surged within him. Marcus leaned in, his usual businesslike demeanor softening. "I'd love to collaborate with you. We could bring this dish to life in a whole new way." His voice was laced with sincerity, yet an uncomfortable tension lurked beneath, the kind that only someone staring into an abyss of existential dread would recognize. Still, Tanya hesitated. "You don't understand. It's more than just a recipe. It's my family's story, lost in the shadows." With each word, Marcus felt his own narrative unfolding before him, a tale marred by exploitation, the kind of success built on the backs of others unheard. He had thrived in a world that often crushed those like Tanya beneath the weight of economic inequality. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As their culinary collaboration deepened, Marcus found himself pulling long nights in his luxurious kitchen, experimenting with Tanya's recipes. It hurt to confront the indulgent life he led, juxtaposed against the sacrifices she made for her grandmother and children. In moments of laughter, the tension would lift, but it always returned, a heavy fog of doubt swirling around Marcus's heart. Could he offer Tanya the opportunity to reclaim her family's lost legacy, or was he merely seeking redemption for his own past misdeeds? Tanya shared countless stories of her family's struggles. The oppressive weight of systemic barriers was a constant reminder of what he had evaded. Yet, as their bond grew, he couldn't help but question his intentions. Was he genuinely helping, or merely performing a good deed to mask his guilt? It gnawed at him, leaving him restless at night. Just as acclaim began to trickle in, she revealed a secret that rocked the very foundation of their partnership. The truth about her lineage, dark and complex, intertwined with the very systemic issues he had avoided confronting. The revelation loomed between them like a wall, poised to dismantle not just their project, but any connection they had built on trust and understanding. Standing in the kitchen, teetering at the edge of unprecedented turmoil, Marcus's breath caught in his throat. Would this truth unravel everything? His heart raced, clamoring for an answer he feared could shatter them both. But before he could articulate a response, a sudden, forceful knock echoed through the kitchen, the sound jolting them back to reality. Tanya's face paled. The figure from her past loomed in the doorway, a specter cloaked in secrets that promised to lay bare all they'd worked for. The figure in the doorway caused a deep chill to settle in the kitchen. It was as if the air had thickened, pressing heavy against Marcus's chest as he instinctively stepped closer to Tanya. The silhouette was familiar enough to evoke a past he had purposefully left behind, and he realized with a dawning horror that it belonged to someone with whom Tanya had surely shared her struggles and triumphs. "Marcus, I can't," Tanya stammered, her composure wavering as she took a step back. "What do you mean?" he whispered urgently, searching her eyes for clarity, for understanding. The weight of the unexpected visitor intensified as he turned back to face the figure, trying to assess the threat. It was mere seconds, yet they felt like a lifetime as the stranger took a step forward, illuminated by the soft glow of the kitchen lights. "Enough with the games, Tanya," the newcomer said, the voice dripping with disdain. "You think you can just walk away from our past, after everything?" Marcus could see Tanya's resolve faltering. It cut deeper than any business setback or negotiation gone awry. Her connection to this person felt like a tether to a reality he was still grappling to comprehend. Would their fledgling partnership survive this intrusion? "Who is this?" Marcus forced the words through clenched teeth, his instincts flaring like a wildfire. He needed to protect Tanya, to shield her from the turbulence that now threatened to disrupt their project and any semblance of trust they had cultivated. "Someone who knows the truth," the visitor replied, a smirk painting their lips, as if reveling in the chaos they wrought. "The truth about you, Tanya. The truth about what you're trying to do." A myriad of questions sprang to Marcus's mind. Who was this person to Tanya? As thoughts raced, he began to feel a primal urge to confront this adversary. Could the revelation they hinted at hold the power to tear apart the fragile veneer of their collaboration? Did they possess information that Tanya hadn't shared with him? At that moment, doubt coursed through him, transforming into fierce determination. "Whatever you think you know, it's not that simple," Tanya replied, her voice steadier now. "You don't get to manipulate my story or drag me back." Marcus felt a swell of admiration as she stood her ground, but the uncertainty lingered in the room like an oppressive fog. He could see the glimmer of fear in her eyes, the fragility behind her brave words, and it stirred a deep sense of urgency within him. Fighting against a legacy built on social inequities was one thing, but personal betrayal would cut deeper than anything money could rectify. "Let's talk," Marcus said, stepping forward as he felt a surge of protectiveness for Tanya, as well as a continuation of his own journey toward understanding. He was determined not just to shield her, but to wrestle with the uncomfortable truths in his own life. "I won't allow this to control us." Still, as he faced the visitor, he felt a tremor of doubt. Was he truly equipped to confront the ghosts of his and Tanya's past? Was there a parallel to their histories that threatened to engulf them both? Before he could glean any answers, the visitor's next words sent a shiver down his spine. "You want the truth? Let's expose everything then. Your business will crumble, and Tanya's family legacy will stay lost in the shadows unless you're willing to face the real cost of your collaboration." Marcus's heart raced. The layers of his carefully constructed life peeling away, exposing vulnerabilities he had long buried. Could he bear the truth? Was he prepared to fight for theirs, through the murky depths of a past he had once evaded? As the tension unfolded, a resolute thought pierced through his hesitation. It was time to confront the demons of his own making and reclaim the narrative, not just for himself, but for Tanya. The challenge ahead loomed large, but as he fought to comprehend the tangled web of truths entangling them, one question echoed dangerously in the recesses of his mind. Was this the moment that would define them, or the one that would be their undoing? Marcus felt the weight of the words hang in the air, an unsettling threat that ignited his survival instinct. The visitor's smirk deepened, confident in the chasm of vulnerability laid bare between him and Tanya. As he squared his shoulders, he realized the battle was not just for their partnership. It was a fight for the very essence of who they were. Tanya hesitated, visibly shaken, yet he could sense a spark, perhaps the flicker of resilience within her. Marcus had always believed in power through vulnerability. It inspired authentic connection. As he watched her struggle, he resolved to unlock that strength within both of them. Let's face whatever you think you have together, Marcus declared, his voice steadying with newfound resolve. No more shadows and whispers. We'll redefine our story on our terms. The visitor's expression faltered slightly, surprised by their joint stance, yet they quickly recovered, eyes gleaming with an insidious delight. You think you can simply brush this away? There's a history here that you cannot escape. Do you honestly think she's ready? Tanya's gaze sharpened at the insinuation, reminding Marcus of her tenacity that shone through her fear. He took her hand, caressing the warmth of resolve he could feel growing between them. This wasn't just about protection. It was a rallying call for both their futures. What do you know about us? Marcus asked, his interest piqued. Now he was fishing for revelations. The challenge of unraveling their shared narrative felt necessary, as if their very survival depended on it. He needed to know what this intruder held over them. The figure stepped closer, relishing their power over the duo. So naive, they laughed, though the laughter betrayed a flicker of uncertainty. You have no idea of the stakes behind this collaboration. Tanya's family legacy is built on secrets, dark ones that you'll wish you never uncovered. Fear twisted in Tanya's expression, but Marcus pressed on. You're implying that her past defines her? That it outweighs our ambitions? Internal conflict roiled within him. Each revelation threatened to rip apart the threads of the life they were building together. Damn the past, he thought with fierce conviction. You don't get to make that choice, the visitor replied, their voice low and charged with menace. When the truth comes crashing down, you'll both need to decide what you're willing to sacrifice to protect what you've built. Marcus felt the pressure mount, a tempest of thoughts swirling in his mind as he wrestled with his fear of failure. What did he truly know about Tanya's past? Could any revelation derail his faith in her? The very notion felt like betrayal, and he realized he needed to anchor them deeper into trust. Regardless of what you think you hold, Marcus said defiantly, feeling a sense of rebellion surge within him. We'll expose it together. I won't allow fear to dictate our course. A silence stretched between them, the weight of Marcus's words settling over the trio. The visitors seemed to retract slightly, losing their earlier confidence. That's what they all say, they murmured, voice tense, until the truth becomes too heavy to bear. The reminder echoed around Marcus like a haunting chant. What truths lay hidden? What sacrifices awaited them? Torn between dread and determination, he realized this moment was pivotal. The unraveling threads of past and potential futures swirled, leaving him dizzy with possibilities and fears. As silence surrounded them, the air thickened, challenging the certainty he sought to project. Overcoming these shadows would demand more than mere resolve. It would require all his strength, vulnerability, and commitment to Tanya. With that thought anchored in his mind, another question flickered like a warning light. What would they uncover if they bravely delved into the depths of their shared history? Would they emerge stronger, or would the revelations threaten to shatter everything they had fought to build? In the flickering shadows, the tension escalated, and the reckoning loomed ominously close. The thick silence was shattered by a burst of laughter, hollow and disturbing. The visitor leaned back, arms crossed, feeding off the tension in the room like a parasite. Marcus felt the urge to recoil but stood firm. Tanya's grip tightened on his hand, a silent acknowledgement of their shared resolve. Let me remind you, boys and girls, the visitor taunted, that stories have a way of unfolding when least expected. Are you really ready for the truth? The air bristled with a challenge, sharp and oppressive, making even the walls seem to lean in, listening intently. Marcus felt a surge of indignation flooding through him. Tanya's gaze, once filled with trepidation, now burned brightly with defiance. That little spark he had sensed earlier had caught fire, illuminating their path, but so too had the visitor's words cast long shadows. He needed to confront the specter of Tanya's past. But how deep could they brave that abyss? He exhaled slowly, focusing on the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. Then let's lay it all out. You seem to know more than you're saying. What do you know about Tanya's family that we don't? Each word was carefully measured, a tactical pursuit that would either fortify their foundations or rip them apart. The visitor chuckled, the sound dripping with contempt. Oh, I can't spoil the surprise just yet. Secrets have a way of revealing themselves in their own time. All I can say is, when they do, will you be brave enough to stand by her? Or will you run when the weight of her lineage comes crashing down? As uncertainty gnawed at him, Marcus reflected on the personal stakes. It wasn't just about Tanya's family name. It was about their joint journey. For so long, he had chased after success and recognition, hiding fragments of himself behind polished facades. Yet, this struggle for truth stripped those facades away, forcing him to face the raw, unvarnished reality of his feelings. In that moment, he grasped a deeper truth. Vulnerability wasn't a sign of weakness, it was an emblem of profound strength. Whatever happens, we face it together. Your games can't tear down what we've built if we stand united, he said, challenging the visitor's hold over them. This declaration emanated through the air like a shockwave. Tanya nodded, the growing confidence in her eyes merging with a fierce determination. They were in this together, a commitment forged in the crucible of shared struggle. The visitor's demeanor shifted slightly, disbelief mixing with irritation. You really think love conquers all? Love doesn't save people from their own history. Marcus felt a flicker of doubt, but he cast it aside. No, but it gives us the strength to confront it. We can't change the past, but we can forge our future. With every syllable, he spoke not only to the visitor, but to the uncertainty tightening around their hearts. Tanya squeezed his hand, and for the first time, Marcus felt a connection that transcended words, a bond woven from shared resolve and unspoken promises. The shadows shrank in the face of their determination, but doubt still hovered like vultures, waiting for the moment they might falter. Very well, the visitor said slowly, an unfathomable glint in their eyes. You've made your choice. But remember, every story has its climax, and I promise this one will be unforgettable. An ominous thrill curled through the air, imprinting its menacing presence into their reality. Suddenly, the visitor turned, melting into the shifting darkness that seemed to pulse with a life of its own, leaving Marcus and Tanya alone in the dissipating tension. The echo of their parting words seeped into their minds, unearthing buried anxieties. Did we just make a decision, or have we inadvertently set ourselves up for betrayal? Marcus questioned inwardly as he gazed at Tanya, whose face bore both trepidation and resolve. What's next? She asked, her eyes revealing her fear and anticipation. Now, he replied, we prepare ourselves, not just for what's hidden in your past, but for the weighing of our own truths. The universe seems determined to pit our very beings against the fray. The moment of reckoning may have dawned, but the fight for our own story is only beginning. As they stood in the aftermath of confrontation, the echoes of the visitor's ominous words loomed large. What other hidden truths would they encounter, and could love truly serve as their shield against the shadows yet to emerge? The stakes had just escalated. The room exhaled a silent tension, the remnants of confrontation lingering like smoke in the air. Marcus faced Tanya, his heart thrumming wildly. He was acutely aware that they were standing at a crossroads, towering shadows of uncertainty looming over both their futures. The visitor had left a taint of churning doubt in their minds, and yet, beneath the fray, strength simmered within him. Let's talk, he said, his voice steadying into something resolute. We can't allow the threat of what lies ahead to derail us. This is about us. He paused, searching for the right words. It wasn't just a declaration. It was a promise to himself and to Tanya. We need to breach this darkness together. Tanya's eyes shimmered with a rising bravado, a flicker of hope entwining with their shared anxieties. What do you think we should do? Where do we even start? Her question hung between them, heavy, but laden with possibility. Marcus took a breath, summoning every ounce of personal evolution he had fought for thus far. We start with your family. You need to confront it, embrace it, if only to understand how it has shaped you. The past might bear weight on your shoulders, but it doesn't have to dictate your future. He felt a shift in his own mind, once hesitant and self-doubting, now ready to unearth the realities hidden beneath layers of fear. Tanya's expression flickered, a momentary hesitation battling the courage she had summoned. But what if it's worse than we thought? A pulse of vulnerability threaded through her voice, yet beneath it was a strength he hadn't noticed before. She was willing to face the specter of her lineage, to plumb the depths, and that stirred something deep within him. Then we face it, he replied, a firmer tone settling within him, embracing the complexity of their situation. You are not alone in this. I will stand by you. The commitment resounded with sincerity, an anchor that pulled them closer to reality, a reality that had the potential to either obliterate or empower their relationship. Emboldened by their exchange, Tanya took a deep breath, aligning her sense of identity with the realization that their future was still fluid, ripe for shaping. Okay, let's get to the bottom of this. I need to know my past, for myself. The determination in her voice resonated with fresh hope. As they leaned into the inquiry, a profound silence enveloped them once again, but this time it felt charged with purpose. Marcus felt a resolution solidifying. They were about to challenge the very foundation of the visitors' taunts, to dissect the fears surrounding Tanya's heritage, and redefine their narrative. But Marcus also recognized the complexity of Tanya's journey ahead. He understood that each piece of the puzzle would undoubtedly lead to complicated emotions, fear, shame, perhaps resentment. Yet he also felt emboldened by his own bravery, the determination to confront his own insecurities alongside hers. Suddenly, a timid knock at the door broke the quiet, a seemingly innocuous sound that sent a ripple through the tension. Tanya's eyes widened momentarily, fear flickering across her features. The visitor's haunting words echoed again in Marcus's mind. Betrayal, doubt, darkness. Had they truly prepared for what might wait outside? Had they truly fortified themselves? Should we answer? Tanya asked softly. Marcus hesitated. If it's a continuation of what we just faced, then perhaps we are already grappling with the past. Maybe we need to face it head-on. His words sent a jolt through him. He was ready to confront whatever existed on the other side of that door. The knock sounded again, firmer this time, pressing against the foundation of their resolve. What awaited them beyond this threshold could very well thrust them deeper into the shadows, or they might discover an unexpected ally offering insights into the darkness they both needed to unravel. With every passing beat, the significance of their impending choice tightened around them. The moments ahead promised revelations, potential complexities, and more uncertainty. Whatever lay beyond this threshold would be a test of their commitment, an opportunity to reflect on the hard truths of who they were becoming as individuals and as partners. Let's see where this takes us, Marcus said, breathing deeply again, his hand reaching for the doorknob, his heart racing with a mix of excitement and trepidation. And with that, he opened the door. The door swung open, and a blast of crisp air swept into the room, mingling uneasily with the lingering tension. Standing before Marcus and Tanya was a figure draped in shadows, barely recognizable, yet familiar. The visitor, an unexpected presence they had both dreaded and imagined, smirked slightly, as if aware of the anxiety knotting their bellies. "Thought you could hide from the truth?" the stranger probed, a hint of mockery dancing on their lips. The air crackled, thick with intimidation and intrigue, dragging Marcus and Tanya back into the depths of their own conflicts. Tanya squeezed Marcus's hand, an unspoken exchange of resolve and fear. "What do you want?" she demanded, her voice quavering yet fierce. It struck Marcus how remarkable her courage was, standing on the precipice like that. Perhaps they both had underestimated the strength they could draw from one another. "Let's not dance around," the visitor replied, stepping forward, a master strategist testing his pawns. "I'm here to enlighten you about your past, Tanya. Your family's history is not the shadowy thing you imagine. It's woven with brilliance and despair." The words were deliberately potent, designed to manipulate. Marcus felt the undeniable weight of the moment. He was being pushed into a role much bigger than he anticipated, acting as Tanya's supporter, her shield. Yet he could feel a flicker of doubt within himself. Was he genuinely equipped to handle the emotional upheaval awaiting them? This confrontation tested not just Tanya, but also the very foundation of their partnership. If she faltered, would he? "Get to the point," Tanya urged, desperation creeping into her voice. The challenge wasn't just about her past. It was about establishing her present and forging their future together. "This," the visitor continued, "is the legacy you've inherited. A family story that's marked by failures, but also by immense talents. The kind that, if embraced, could change your life." The smirk faded momentarily, replaced with an expression that suggested they might yet control the narrative. Marcus's heart raced at the implications. Did this stranger really possess insights enough to reshape Tanya's sense of self? Were there talents hidden in her lineage capable of altering their trajectory? He could almost hear the clamor of skepticism inside him battling against the enticing allure of hope. Tanya leaned forward, her curiosity overpowering trepidation. What talents? Her brow furrowed as she tried to untangle a thread from the chaos. Marcus admired that. This was the part of her he had seen blossom since their first encounter. The seeker. The warrior willing to confront uncomfortable truths rather than bury them. The visitor licked their lips, preparing a retort meant to unveil a scorpion hidden in their words. "You may not realize it, but you have the ability to channel your family's history into creativity in ways you've never conceived. There's power in your past, Tanya, and you're ignoring the fuel that lies within." A silence enveloped the room as Marcus processed the revelation. The prospect of discovering her intrinsic talents was stimulating, yet also terrifying. Would unearthing a past laden with complexity and darkness truly empower Tanya? Or would it merely spiral into turmoil? As he wrestled with those thoughts, he felt his own uncertainties resurfacing. "What are you saying?" Tanya questioned, taking a step back from the stranger, her brow furrowing. "Are you saying that our fears are built on something you consider good?" "Exactly," the visitor shot back. "Nothing is entirely good or bad. Embrace it. You might teach yourself to be someone you've always wanted to be." Each word lanced through the air, aiming directly at Tanya's vulnerabilities. Marcus realized he had the power to influence the direction of this confrontation. He stepped closer to Tanya, a wall against the unpredictable storm that was the visitor. "You don't have to listen to this," he said, his voice steady despite the maelstrom within. "But what if there's truth to it?" Tanya replied, her gaze flickering between Marcus and the visitor. The tremor in her voice hinted at a newfound ferocity beneath her fear, a potential for growth, if she could muster the courage to confront those elusive shadows of her lineage. As uncertainty intertwined with hope, a deeper question arose within Marcus. Would he be strong enough to support her? Would he be prepared to confront aspects of himself that might still be hiding in the shadows, waiting for their own moment in the light? "I need time to think," Tanya finally declared, breaking the weighty silence that had cocooned them for too long. She glanced at Marcus, an unspoken plea for partnership, mingling with resolve in her eyes. The visitor's expression shifted. "Time is a luxury you might not possess," they warned, their voice low and nearly conspiratorial. "The clock is ticking, and choices have consequences." With that, they turned sharply and left, leaving behind an echoing uncertainty that filled the room. The tension ballooned, expanding within Marcus like a coiled spring ready to burst. He felt Tanya's turmoil mirrored in his own. This singular moment would determine their course. Beyond mere insights, it prompted deeper reflection on who they chose to become together. They were staring into the abyss of Tanya's history, poised on the brink of revelation and self-discovery. But as Marcus thought of those hidden talents, He pondered a still greater question. What lay buried beneath the surface of his own identity that he needed to confront? The path ahead felt shrouded in mystery, yet undeniable clarity began to set in. Both of them would need to dive deeper than ever before. Marcus sat in reflection, the weight of the visitor's words pressing against his chest, like an anchor submerging him into turbulent waters. That raw moment when Tanya had turned her gaze between him and the stranger awakened a deeper truth within him. He had always seen himself as the protector, the one guiding her through her labyrinth of uncertainties. Yet now, she needed not just his support, but a collaborative strength to navigate the shadows of her lineage. Realization washed over him. He was in this as much as she was. If they were to face the chaos and complexity of her past together, they would also have to peel back the layers of their own identities. What had he hidden away? A deep-seated fear of failure, perhaps, or the lingering ambition that never fully blossomed. The conversations they had shared about their dreams suddenly felt trivial compared to the confrontation waiting to be unveiled. The allure of success danced before his eyes, shimmering with promises of an accomplished life. Yet how often had he taken decisive steps toward it? The visit from the stranger wasn't just about Tanya's family history. It was also a mirror reflecting his own hesitations back at him. He glanced at Tanya, who seemed lost in thought, her fingers running absently over the edge of the table. She was on the edge of a precipice, debating whether to leap into the unknown. Caution tugged at her, but something primal and fierce flickered behind her hesitation. He wanted to reach out, to shake that uncertainty from her, but he knew this was a journey she had to embark on her own, in parallel with him. "Do you need some air?" he finally asked, breaking the silence that had settled uncomfortably between them. Tanya nodded, the tension in her expression softening slightly. As they stepped outside, the cool breeze filled Marcus with a renewed sense of purpose. He wasn't just a bystander in Tanya's story. They would write it together. He looked at her, noticing how the gentle gust tousled her hair, highlighting the determination in her eyes. "Listen," he said, "about what the visitor said. It's overwhelming. But maybe those parts of yourself you've overlooked, your talents, could be the key to making sense of everything." She glanced back at him, her skepticism palpable. "What if I don't have those talents? What if I can't handle what I uncover?" "Saying you can't isn't the end of the story," he replied, an impassioned urgency threading through his voice. "Your fears, your potential, they're part of a narrative that can reshape what comes next. You're capable of more than you realize, and I know you'll find it." Tanya's brow furrowed as she processed his words. What if facing this truth only leads to darkness? What if my family's past doesn't offer light but a curse? "That's a risk we both have to confront," he countered, trying to keep the conversation anchored in authenticity. "But keeping ourselves in the shadows means we lose sight of the possibilities. You might find that you weren't just given a set of challenges. You were given a chance to transform those very challenges into something powerful." The clouds parted slightly, letting the sun peek through, illuminating the path before them. Tanya drew a deep breath, her expression firming. "Let's take that step then. You help me confront my shadows, and I'll help you find yours." Marcus nodded, his heart swelling with determination. There was no longer a separation of roles. He wasn't just her shield anymore. They were equals standing side by side. As they returned to the room, Marcus felt the ticking clock of urgency around them, amplified by their resolve. Tanya was ready to face her family's history, which was also beckoning him to assess the depths of his own past. What secrets lay dormant within him, waiting for the right moment to unravel? As they stepped inside, an alarming thought pierced Marcus's mind. Would facing their truths open doors, or would it magnify their fears tenfold? Each step toward enlightenment brought its own distinct peril, blending the line between becoming who they were always meant to be and succumbing to the realities of their histories. The door now felt like a threshold to something far more significant than either of them could anticipate. With each processed revelation, they would have to embrace the uncertainty ahead. They were about to traverse a labyrinth adorned with complexity and potential. Together. Unbeknownst to them, outside forces loomed, ready to complicate their journey. What if their exploration into the past roused resentment from unexpected corners? The future beckoned with both promise and peril, and an unsettling feeling began to creep in. What were they truly prepared to sacrifice in pursuit of their growth? As they stepped into the living room, a cocoon of tension enveloped Marcus and Tanya. The atmosphere grew thick with anticipation, each unspoken question hanging in the air. Marcus felt an uncharacteristic shiver of uncertainty trickle down his spine. They had ventured into this uncharted territory of vulnerability together, yet he sensed an unanticipated distance growing between them. It wasn't a physical gap, but an emotional one, fueled by the weight of unaddressed histories. Tanya moved to the window, her gaze lost in the distance, the sunlight kissing her skin. He could see the gears turning in her mind, the coalescence of fear, excitement, and the undeniable pull of her family's legacy. His reflection in the glass caught his attention. What did he see there? A caretaker? A dreamer? Or perhaps a man standing on the edge of his own looming crisis? Marcus. Her voice broke through his thoughts, a plea wrapped in vulnerability. Let's talk about what we just stepped into. Of course, he replied, his heart racing. This was the moment he had anticipated, facing not only Tanya's shadows but hinting at his own. What's on your mind? She turned slowly, vulnerability etched in her features. I need to understand how you feel about all this. Facing my family's past isn't just about learning who they were. It's about understanding who I might become. Who we might become. Her words resonated within him, igniting a flicker of realization. They weren't merely untangling her lineage. They were engaging in a deeper process of self-definition. I'm scared too, Tanya. Facing what we both hide might tear us apart, or it might bind us even tighter. But I think that's exactly why we need to confront it together. An imperceptible sigh escaped her lips. But what if we unearth things that change everything? What if the truth reveals I'm not who I think I am? Or worse, that what I uncover puts us on different paths. Marcus found himself grappling with an unsettling feeling of exposure. What if we find strengths we never knew we had? This journey is about discovering those aspects of ourselves we've buried. And maybe it's important not just for you, but for me as well. There's a chance I might discover my own avenues of growth through this. He observed her closely, hoping she caught the tremor of resolve mingled with fear in his voice. Tanya's uncertainty was palpable, yet her resilience began to shimmer through the haze. She was ready to confront her past. But would she be willing to explore the layers hiding in his? What do you mean by that? She asked, curiosity flickering in her eyes. Marcus hesitated, considering the risks before revealing more. I've always been safe in thinking of myself as an outlier, someone who comforts and stands back. But that doesn't mean I'm without fear. I worry I don't have the capability to achieve what I've dreamt of, let alone the courage to face the potential truth of who I am at my core. Her expression softened as she stepped closer. You're a talented man, Marcus. But do you truly believe it? Can you visualize yourself in those roles you've dreamed of? If so, what holds you back? He swallowed hard, feeling the weight of her inquiries pressing against his churning thoughts. Tanya was right. His own dreams had lingered in the shadows, just like her quest for identity, overshadowed by familiar anxieties of inadequacy. Honestly, fear of failure. He closed his eyes for a moment, gathering the raw honesty coursing through him. I've spent so long putting others first that I've neglected to assess my own aspirations fully. It's easier to champion someone else. Tanya's lineage isn't an anchor, it's a compass, she stated, a fierce determination blossoming in her voice. And I want us both to find our own direction, together. That means facing our fears head-on. As the gravity of her words settled, Marcus nodded, his resolve hardening. Facing his fears alongside her wasn't just about her journey. It was a vital chance to spark the embers of his hidden ambitions. "What are the first steps, then?" he asked, the uncertainty of the journey yet to come mixing with anticipation. "Let's begin by unraveling the stories of our pasts," she replied. "We can't step into unfamiliar territory without understanding where we came from first." As they ventured into their shared expedition of self-discovery, shadows of doubt still lingered around them. Would unearthing the past ultimately pull them closer, or drive an irreparable wedge between them? With a racing heart, Marcus considered the impending challenges they would face. The journey had just begun, and already the creeping sense of urgency thundered in his chest. Rediscovering his own self-worth was a daunting quest, but the stakes were incredibly high. Would he uncover the talents he had long dismissed, or would the confrontation lead him to a disheartening truth about his capabilities? The question loomed heavy in the air, a prelude to the unfolding drama that waited just beyond the horizon. Unknowingly, they had awakened forces that could complicate their paths forward, and every decision they made would push them deeper into the labyrinth they had vowed to navigate together. What unforeseen aspects of their past would they uncover next? And how would that knowledge carve new identities out of the both of them? The morning light filtered through the living room window, casting a soft glow that contrasted sharply with the heaviness in Marcus's chest. As he watched Tanya sift through old family boxes with a mixture of reverence and fear, he felt the formidable weight of his own uncertainties pressing down. The chaos of unearthed memories around them mirrored the turmoil brewing within him. Each object they uncovered could either illuminate their histories or obscure the path ahead. "Look at this," Tanya exclaimed, holding up a delicate silver locket. The intricacies of its design reflected her curiosity about the life it once adorned. "What do you think this story holds?" "Stories can be deceptive," Marcus mused, his mind racing. The locket symbolized not only the allure of family ties, but also the potential for painful truths. It might be more about what it hides than what it reveals. She frowned, pausing momentarily. "Are you afraid of the truth?" "Truth has a way of reshaping our understanding of ourselves," he replied, forcing himself to confront the reality of his trepidation. "Digging into your family past is also digging into the parts of me that I've kept buried. I wonder if there is something inside me that I'd rather not confront." Tanya remained silent, her attention diverted back to the locket. The contemplation tugged at her features, and he knew her thoughts must have turned inward, just as his had. For a split second, Marcus wished he could retreat to a place of safety, far removed from emotional upheaval. But he recognized that this path they had chosen was part of a larger metamorphosis, one that they needed to face together. "Let's find out together then," she said, her voice steady but quaking with unvoiced fears. "If we're both peeling back layers, we can support each other. You have that locket of dreams hidden inside you, too. Maybe it's time to unlock it." Marcus felt a flicker of warmth at her words, yet an unsettling chill still licked at his vulnerabilities. What if I've lost the key to it? The honesty of his admission laid bare before them both. "Then we'll forge a new one," she promised. "What would it look like to have the courage to truly unlock your potential?" He allowed her words to wash over him, feeling both inspired and intimidated. The idea of vulnerability emerged as an ever-present companion in their exploration. Could he find permission within himself to pursue the long-buried aspirations that hovered just outside his reach? Each suppressed dream carried the guilt of feeling undeserving, the fear of inadequacy creeping back like a familiar shadow. "Perhaps it begins with recognizing the dreams themselves," Marcus said, a newfound determination sparking within him. "I need to name them, confront them. Not just for me, but for us. Maybe that's the dynamic we create." Tanya leaned into him, hope flashing in her eyes. "Exactly. Naming them will empower us. They won't just be voices echoing in the void anymore. They will take on a life of their own." Encouraged, Marcus felt a surge of ambition rise. The moment felt pivotal. Reflecting on adulthood stained with quiet resignation sparked a sudden urge to stretch his limits, to claw back the shadows that had once overshadowed his self-worth. He considered the paths he had avoided and the aspirations he had allowed to wither on the vine. "I've always wanted to write a story," he confided, vulnerability creeping into his tone. The words hung between them charged with latent aspiration. "Then let's write it," Tanya replied with infectious enthusiasm. "Let's document this journey into the past, your story and mine. Those chapters deserve to be told." As Marcus leaned into the conversation, another piece of himself began to emerge, like sunlight breaking through the clouds. An idea took root, blurring boundaries between examination and creation, between her journey and his. This unearthing went beyond mere relics. It was a chance to validate their own potential, a compelling invitation into the lives they wished to craft. However, just as optimism enveloped them, an unsettling thought intruded upon Marcus's newfound clarity. Would revealing the raw truths behind their struggles ultimately augment their bond or fracture them forever? The journey felt exhilarating, yet precarious, like an intricate dance on the edges of uncertainty. "What happens when we finally unearth the darker truths, Tanya?" he asked, wary anticipation threading through his voice. "Then we deal with it," she said, a fierce glimmer kindling her resolve. "We won't let darkness define us. Instead, we'll let it guide us." With that declaration, Marcus felt a primal urge to finally embrace the tempest within him. A change was brewing, yet the growing possibility of heartbreak lingered in the air, like the scent of impending rain. As they continued to uncover the past and face their futures, he realized that tensions were at a boiling point. The only place they could go from here was deeper, into their fears, their histories, and ultimately into themselves. But would those revelations solidify their partnership, or would they find their very selves irrevocably altered in the process? The looming answers waited on the horizon, as did the tension they had yet to face. The air was electric as Marcus and Tanya leaned into the search for their truths. Days turned into weeks, and with each object they uncovered from Tanya's family's history, layers of uncertainty began peeling away. The locket she found led to family photos, letters, and stories that revealed not just her grandparents' struggles, but also their triumphs. Each artifact painted a picture of a woman strong, resourceful, and beloved, a stark contrast to Tanya's timid assumption of her own worth. "I never knew my family had such resilience," Tanya remarked, tracing the lines of a faded letter from her grandmother. "I carried a weight of expectations without realizing how remarkable my lineage really is." In that revelation, Marcus recognized a mirror in his own soul, a reflection of his journey, where self-doubt had always overshadowed abundant potential. Encouraged by Tanya's courage, he began unraveling his own narrative. "I always wanted to write," he confessed one evening, a half-finished manuscript resting at the edge of his desk. "But self-doubt kept me from making it real." "Then let's make it real together," Tanya replied, determination glinting in her eyes. "Every story needs a voice, and we both have so much to share." Their collaboration shifted from mere supportive partnership to a shared commitment to claim their narratives. Evening after evening, they sat side by side, Tanya recounting her playful grandmother's joy through cookies baked for family gatherings, while Marcus penned his thoughts about climbing the corporate ladder, only to lose touch with his authentic self. Slowly, the weight of hidden fears began to lift. As they shaped words, they also forged a deeper bond, realigning their aspirations with newfound clarity. Marcus's vulnerability was met with Tanya's honesty. She helped him realize that embracing his passion would not just enhance his identity, but also strengthen their partnership. "Remember, your dreams matter," she reminded him as he hesitated before typing out another sentence. "This is your legacy, too." And then it happened. They received an unexpected invitation. a chance to present their culinary collaboration inspired by Tanya's gumbo at a prestigious restaurant showcase. "This is our moment," Marcus said, excitement bubbling within him. "We can blend our stories and showcase the magic of your family's legacy alongside my entrepreneurial spirit." Tanya nodded, vulnerability resonating with her determination. "I'll show the world how far I've come. They'll see my grandmother's spirit infused in every dish." As the showcase approached, pressure mounted. Marcus wrestled with trepidation. What if they failed? But Tanya's voice echoed in his heart. What if they succeeded? They created value together, their individual strengths interwoven. On the day of the event, the crowd buzzed with energy. As they plated their first dish, a beautiful bowl of gumbo, seasoned with snippets of their shared stories, Marcus felt a wave of pride wash over him. This was more than just a dish. It was a representation of resilience. When they presented, the judges tasted their creation, eyes widening in surprise. "This gumbo, there's a history behind it, isn't there?" one of them remarked, glancing between them. "Absolutely," Tanya began, drawing the audience in. "It represents not only my family's struggle, but also the reawakening of my voice. It's a testament to everything I am capable of." Watching her, Marcus found himself layered deep in this moment with her. No longer just an observer, but a contributor, steadfast in his belief in both her and himself. The applause that erupted after their presentation felt like more than validation. It was recognition of their truth emerging from the depths of uncertainty. When the accolades came draped in genuine appreciation, Marcus realized they had achieved something monumental. He had faced his fears and unshackled his dreams while aiding Tanya in reclaiming her identity through her family's narrative. They both emerged transformed individuals, empowered and validated. In the aftermath of the showcase, as accolades trickled in, the essence of their journey solidified. They had not only woven new dreams, but had treaded the path of self-discovery together. Marcus stood on the balcony of his home that night, gazing at the stars littered across the velvet sky. Tanya stepped out, a shared understanding crackling between them. "Can you believe all this?" she asked, breathless with disbelief, yet elated with fulfillment. "Not just believe it," he replied with a proud smile, "but live it. We've conquered our doubts. We have stories, dreams, and now a delicious legacy to share." She nodded, the weight of her past no longer a burden, but a beacon guiding her forward. They both had carved their identities through shared struggles and discovered that their truths had the power to transform, not only their stories, but their lives. This was achievement, fulfillment, and affirmation. In that moment, they came to know. Together, they could overcome anything. Now, as Marcus looked into their future, he felt solid confidence settling in his heart, recognizing competence in both of them. They had turned struggles into stories, dreams into reality, and fears into triumphs. In this world, where shadows once held sway, they stood illuminated, poised for the next chapter, ready to embrace whatever unravels next. Now, it's your turn. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and theories about this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share. True fans of personal overcoming stories understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.